Through every battle, through every heartbreak, through every circumstance, I believe that you are my fortress, you are my portion, you are my hiding place. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe through every blessing, through every promise, through every breath I take. I believe that you are provider, you are protector, you are the one I love. Oh, I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today, mercies that are new. All my fears and doubts, they can all come true, because they can't stay long when I'm here with you. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today with mercies that are new. All my fears and doubts, they can all come true, because they can't stay long when I believe you are the way, the truth, and the light. Oh, I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today with mercies that are new. All my fears and doubts, they can all come true, because they can't stay long when I believe you are the way, the truth, and the light. Oh, I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are.
Hey everyone, welcome to Church Online. We're so glad you're here today. My name's Rob, I'm one of the pastors here on staff, and we're just so pumped that you chose to watch our services with us. If this is your very first time tuning in for Church Online, we want to give you a special thanks. In fact, we would love to give you a gift. So if you would, text the number below, and we'd love to send you a gift just as our way of saying thanks for being here with us today. Hey, if you're wondering about Crosspointe's regathering plan, then stay tuned, because Pastor Brian in his message is going to be announcing some very exciting things. And one thing I love about this church is that during this time of crisis, we've been able to be the hands and feet of Jesus and meet practical needs in our community. Each week, we've been looking at a different initiative that we've been able to be a part of. And I'm excited about this week because this week, we were able to bless a senior living home. Check it out.
One of the groups that was most impacted by COVID was our elderly community. That's why us at Crosspointe wanted to reach out. Because of your generosity, we were able to bless an assisted living home. This community hasn't been around anybody for months. They've actually been stuck in their rooms, unable to visit their friends or unable to have visitors from the outside like their family. We were able to buy them iPads, which allowed them to FaceTime family so they can see their family face to face, to have that personal interaction that we know that we all just crave. One of our very own Crosspointers was with us. Her dad lives in that facility. We were able to watch the interaction through a window of her and her dad seeing each other, and they haven't seen each other in months. We brought each of the residents a bag filled with goodies to show them that we love them. On top of that, we brought all 100 of their staff members a fun bag filled with a Grubhub gift card so when they're tired they can go home and eat, and a fun devotion book that will bring them hope in this season. On top of that, many of our Kid Point kids colored pages that we were able to put in each of those bags. We know that that will bring them so much joy and happiness knowing that even little ones are thinking about them too during this time. Crosspointe, thank you so much for caring about a group that has been often forgotten. This is just one small way we are being the hands and feet of Jesus in our community.
When I was in college, I played on a basketball team. I went to a Christian college, and before our home games, a guest speaker would come in and they would share a motivational, devotional thought with us before the game. In 4 years, I heard a lot of talks. I don't remember any of them except this one. The speaker asked us, what is the easiest shot in basketball? It's not the three-pointer, it's not the free throw, it's the layup. You know, when Jesus was speaking to his followers, he spoke about the layup. In Matthew chapter 6 and verse 19, he says, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. You know, a couple weeks ago, I was with my family and we were watching the evening news, and we watched these looters and thieves go in and steal from stores. Have you ever had something stolen from you? It's a terrible feeling, isn't it? Earthly treasure can be stolen. Have you ever purchased a new car? You know, purchasing a new car is a wonderful thing at first. But then after a couple of years, it's just a car. If you have children, the back seat can quickly become a mess. Melted crayons, school artwork, toys, shoes, old McDonald's Happy Meals with those French fries, which, by the way, look the exact same as whenever you ordered them 2 years ago. You know, the beautiful car has become just a form of transportation. After a few 100,000 miles, it will eventually wear out and need replacing. That's another negative thing about earthly treasure. It wears out. Moth and rust can destroy. But Jesus tells us of a better treasure, treasures in heaven where moth and rust do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. So how do we lay up treasures in heaven? By serving other people, by blessing others, and by giving. You know, Jesus shares why this is so critically important because he says our heart travels with our treasure. By storing up treasure on heaven, your heart will also be connected as well. You know, what a wonderful thing it is to lay up treasures in heaven. When you financially give to your local church, you are doing the spiritual layup. I want to say thank you to those of you that are spiritually putting points on the board. Because of people like you, Crosspointe was able to financially bless several people here at Crosspointe that were facing stress even this past week. For those of you that have never given or haven't given in a long time, I want to challenge you to try the spiritual layup. You can do that by going online and giving today. Better yet, sign up to automate your giving. And I want to celebrate that we have had 84 new families sign up for automated giving in the last 3 months. Go God! You know, Crosspointe, because of you, has been able to be bold in our mission of helping other people find and follow Jesus.
You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. Oh, I've been born again into your family. Yeah, your blood flows through my veins, and I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. and I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God.
Hey, welcome to Church Online today. We're so glad you guys are watching. And like usual, we want to encourage you to share this with other people. Let's get the word out about church right now, worshiping together. We've got a great message in store for you. And also want to let you know that we're here to support you. So if you're chatting right now, you need prayer, let us know. Man, we would be honored to be able to pray for you whatever season that you're going in. And man, we're here for you as a church. Crosspointe, we care. Now, Matt, we're starting to reopen some now, and I'm excited because we actually got to go out to eat together as a family. How about you guys?
Yeah, we've gone out a few times, wearing our masks, of course, until we get to our seats, and it's almost surreal how normal it feels to sit down in a restaurant again and order something off of a menu.
It's crazy. And then we, I was driving by Cinema City movie theater over here, and I noticed that they're opening up, getting ready for the movie theaters to open up, which is kind of crazy.
Man, it's such an exciting time, isn't it?
It is. And then 2 weeks ago, I went back to the gym. So, man, I'm back in the gym now, and it's good to see all my gym buddies that I hadn't seen in a little while, and now we're back in the gym.
Congratulations. I'm still not returning to the gym. I'm going to say it's because of health reasons, but it's mostly just because I'm lazy. So.
Well, we're excited about things beginning to reopen, and I'm really excited to announce to you that we are going to be regathering back together as a church.
Oh, that's great.
Can we get some hearts right now? Can we get some likes? Can we get some amens? I know I've missed you guys so much. We've missed you. We love you. We're working on our plan right now. We're going to be getting back together on Sunday, June 26th.
July 26th.
July. Thanks for that. Would have been bad.
Because like that June 26th was like 2 days ago, so sorry you missed it.
July 26th, and we're working on everything. I've heard this past week from our facilities team that we got this stuff called kill juice.
What now?
I don't know what that means. It just means it's going to be clean around here. And man, we're working on a ton of our plan just to make us safe, secure. And we did our survey. Thank you so much for completing our survey. We got over 500 different responses back. And if you're curious, here's the information we got. 40% of you said we're green. We're ready to come back like right now. It's like we're at the stoplight and the person in front of me is not going, and we're like beeping on a horn saying we're ready to get back. 30% of people said that they're at the yellow light. Cautious, safe, taking it day by day. Going to see how things go, but is ready to come back to church with the proper precautions in place, which we're going to have. And then there's 30% of people that are still in the red and just saying, hey, we're right now still staying in our home, still quarantined, don't feel ready to come back just yet. And we want you to know we get it. We love you no matter where you're at. And we have online services that are available if you're not ready to come back, but we are really looking forward to regathering.
Yeah, one of the things I really appreciate about our church is that our core value of love really compels us to continue to offer an online option during the season for those who are immunocompromised or those who are just a little bit more nervous about what the effects of the virus could have in your own life. But at the same time, our core value of love is compelling us to regather.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see you. We are in part 2 of this series. Actually, this is what we call season 2 of Thriving in Babylon. And what we like to do here at Crosspointe is we like to take a book of the Bible every year to go through the entire book of the Bible. And so this year we've chosen the book of Daniel, and we do this like Netflix. If you've ever watched a season, then the season ends, and then we'll go on to something else, then we'll bring it back. And this is all part of our our preaching philosophy here at Crosspointe. And this is the way that I see Jesus develop disciples. The first thing that I notice is in John chapter 1, Jesus is walking. John the Baptist said, "There goes the Lamb of God." And then one of the disciples is there, Andrew, and he starts following Jesus. And Jesus is like, what do you want? And he's like, "Where are you going?" And he's like, "Come and see." And so the first thing he says, just come and see. Then Andrew says to Peter, he says, "I think I found the Messiah." He said, "Come and see, come and check it out." And then we notice later that Philip was talking to Nathanael, who was a skeptic. And he says to him, "Come and see. I know you got questions, come and see." So we have this philosophy in our discipleship process and our philosophy of preaching here of like, we'll do these attractional-based series saying, come and see, come and check it out. And then we'll move from come and see, Jesus moves into follow me. And he says, if you're going to follow me, you have to deny yourself. Take up your cross daily and follow me. This is another level of commitment where he turns up the heat. And so what we do is we do more of like a balanced series. And then Jesus, he turns it up again and he says, abide in me. So it's come and see me. Then he says, follow me. Then he says, abide in me. And abide in me is whenever he says, apart from me, you can do nothing. He says, leave your father and mother behind. He says, drink my flesh, eat my blood. And we like to do the same thing in our preaching, where we'll have these attractional series, and then we'll go through like a book of Daniel right now, where we're turning up the heat, saying, this is what it means to follow me. This is what it means to be completely sold out to Christ. So today, we're going to jump into Daniel chapter 1. We're in verse 8 through verse 20. So Matt, why don't you set this up?
All right, so I really feel like the best way to get this thing going is I want to tell you a story about when I was a high school senior, and I decided to go on the French Club trip. Now, here's the problem. Never in my entire life did I ever take a single day of high school French. In fact, most of the French that I knew came from the movie Home Alone, where the sister's like, hey, you're what the French call les incompetents. I assume that means something bad. And then my secondary resource was the movie Beauty and the Beast, where Lumiere would say things like bonjour. So like that was really the extent of my French knowledge. But what happened is my senior year, our school got a brand new French teacher. And one of my friends told me, he's like, she doesn't know who's been in French the last 4 years, so just come with us. So I'm thinking, oh, this sounds great, because we would get to go on a trip where we'd take a charter bus and we would do French things like look at art and eat, French dining and go to the mall. I mean, it's Kansas City. It's not like Paris or anything. So I go on this trip, and the whole day I'm just completely lost on what's happening. But there's one thing that I wasn't lost on, and that was an excused absence. I was getting an excused absence that day, and everything was going great until we just finished a meal by a classically trained French chef, when our teacher gets up and says, all right, now I want to go around the room and we want to tell the chef what we enjoyed about the meal in French. And at this point, I'm like, I can't hide anymore. So I look to the person next to me and I just say to them, like, what do I say? But the problem is my heartbeat is going fast. Like I have that little bit of anxiety that's starting to course through my veins. And so they say something, and it was really fast, and it was not in English. And so I really had no clue what they just said. So they got to me, and it was my turn to finally say what I enjoyed about this meal. And I was at a crossroads. And I just want to say, like, as a pastor, I'm going to tell you right now that honesty is the right move in any situation. But that's not what today is about, okay? That's not what our message is about. So I sat there, and I said something really fast, and then I put the biggest, goofiest smile on my face. This was the play I did. So I said it, and I go. And the thing is, I look at the teacher, and I look at the chef, and they look at each other like, what just happened here? What did he just say? And I can see, like, behind my teacher's eyes, she's thinking, I'd never taught this kid. This is why this is happening. And we stare at each other for about 5 seconds as they give me like this perplexed look, and I just smile goofy at them until finally they just say, all right, next person, and move on. And here's what I learned about this, is that a lot of us, we want life to work just like that trip. We get all the benefits. We get to go on the trip, but we don't have to do any of the work to get there. We want things to be like that movie Like Mike, where little Bow Wow puts on Michael Jordan's shoes and suddenly he can play just like Michael Jordan, and we want to be as good as Olympic athletes, but we don't necessarily want to put in the work. Maybe another way to look at this, Brian, is have you ever seen one of those belts that will send electric shocks into your abs?
Oh, yeah, infomercial.
Yeah, so
I'm a sucker for a good infomercial. I've seen that. I wanted that.
Yeah, so you just sit on the couch all day
and
it just like shakes it and like sends electric shocks, and suddenly you have like six-pack abs. Like that's how we want life to work. We want all the benefits, but none of like the hard things that go along with it. In fact, I'm not going to say this is an American dream. I think this is like a universal dream. I mean, for me, like my classmates, they went to class every single day. They studied French, they took the tests, they went to the French club meetings like throughout the year. They did the fundraisers that would supplement and like bring the cost of that trip down. I did none of that. But the reality is, most of life, like to do the exceptionally good things, to really be a success, it's small, boring things. If you want to be healthy, it's small, boring things. If you want to be healthy in your finances, it's generally small, boring things accumulated over time.
So all the benefits, but none of the work. Now, on one hand, our faith is built off of this principle, that we don't have to work our way to God. There's nothing you could do to get more of his approval or more of his attention, that God actually sent his son Jesus here in this sin-saturated world, and he came on a rescue mission to rescue you from your sin so that you can have a relationship with God. And Ephesians 2:8-9 says, "For by grace you're saved through faith, not of yourself, not of works, so that anyone should boast." So we actually get all of God's riches, grace, Grace, God's riches at Christ's expense. We get everything without putting any of the work in. So on one hand, that's what our faith is built on. But on another hand, James says faith without works is dead. That there's actions that go to our faith. And that doesn't mean that you have to do something in order to have a relationship with God, because James was speaking to believers. In James chapter 1, he says, James, a servant of Christ, to the 12 tribes scattered among the nations, greetings. He says, my brothers, count it all joy. He's saying my brothers because he's talking to believers. And when he's talking to believers specifically, he's saying it's not enough just to have faith. You've got to put some action behind your faith. It's this action coming together. And spiritually speaking, you're either climbing spiritually or you're sliding. There's no just staying still. And it's easier to slide than it is to climb. Now, let me give you 3 barriers that are going to keep you from climbing spiritually. One of them is sin. Sin destroys. And sin is pleasurable for a season, but it always has consequences. So sin's going to keep you from spiritually growing. It's going to keep you from doing the right things. The second thing is the good things. Now, these are, bad. This isn't sin, but good is the enemy of great. It's when good things become God things. So like scrolling on Facebook or Instagram, those things can be a time suck. They can take you away from your walk with God. That would be one example. Or just the newspaper every day instead of having your time with God. There's so many things that are good things, but they're going to keep you from the best things that God has called you to do. And the third thing is just apathy. It's this whole feeling that I don't care. That's always going to cause you to slide rather than climb.
Yeah, Brian, I think about this whole principle of either climbing or sliding, and really we're speaking to Jesus followers that are viewing this right now, that a lot of us, our spiritual journey looks a lot like a roller coaster, where it's like there's a lot of ups and there's a lot of downs, and it's really like you're never really gaining a lot of traction. And sometimes I think about when were the times in my life where I really feel like the ascent was really going well, and what were the times like I was excited to talk about Jesus with other people? What were the times when I was excited to get up and actually get into the Bible? Or the times when I was excited to come into a room and actually sing and it meant something to me? Or even those little more quiet moments. I think about driving in the car and saying, I'm going to turn off the radio. I'm just going to talk to God. Like, I think about those seasons in my life, and sometimes I wonder, like, why am I not always there? Why am I not always in that moment? And here's something I've learned about myself, and I'm sure that a lot of you can say that this is true too, is that knowing more about faith does not always equate to being more excited about faith, right? In fact, I'd even say that the times when I'm really growing the most, and I'm the most like zealous and the most excited about following Jesus, it's actually the times that I'm not just learning more, but I'm taking steps, right? Like I'm actually taking a step out in faith. In fact, I would say that more often than not, our emotions, they don't follow learning more things. Our emotions actually follow our motion. It's actually taking those steps and actually doing the things that make us grow in our faith. And so as really the basis, I want to tell you the story this morning, just get you...
Hey, Matt, before you tell this story.
Okay.
All right, I think, this is just kind of hit me right now. It's not my notes, but it's kind of like climbing a mountain too. Because when you're climbing a mountain, when you're climbing spiritually, you're going to go up. But there's going to be these little things. So it's not always like I'm all the way back down to the start. You go through these plateaus, and then you come back up. And then there's these plateaus, and then you come back up. That's just something that God just kind of gave to you right now. Let's talk about Daniel.
Yeah, good. So 2,600 years ago, the Babylonians were storming through Mesopotamia, and they make their way into what we would now call Israel, or Palestine. And they come in and they capture the best and the brightest from all of these cities that they come into. And one of the cities that they walk into is the city of Jerusalem. And they find 4 young men by the names of Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The last 3, for those of you who might have been around church for a while, you might know them by their more common names, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And so as they had grown up in these very Jewish environments, learning the Old Testament and following God, they've now been stripped from their homeland and taken to the city of Babylon, where they're then forced into this Babylonian royal academy. And here was the game plan that they had, Brian, is that they wanted to really brainwash these people, because they wanted to use people who had natural talent and natural abilities and intellect, but they wanted to make sure that there wasn't any danger of them ever trying to stage rebellions or coups or try and take over the kingdom. So they would spend a lot of effort trying to teach them all about Babylonian religion, Babylonian science, Babylonian methods, the language, and they were ultimately trying to just brainwash these young men so that when they gave advice, it was never to try and circumvent or subvert the king. And part of the Royal Academy was a very strict diet, which actually came into a lot of conflict with the Old Testament law. Because if you've ever read through the Old Testament, you notice that there's a lot of things that really don't apply to us today in regards to the things that we can eat. So one of the examples would be pork. So imagine a world where you can't have bacon, you can't have carnitas, there's no pork ribs. Like you are completely cut off from any of those types of food. And then suddenly you're in this academy where you know what the consequences are of not following the rules. It's probably death. And you're being told, hey, you need to eat these foods. You need to go in and join in the buffet. It's a buffet all day. And the easiest thing for these 4 young men would just be riding the wave, just going along with it. But for some reason, they said something different.
Yeah, they had the buffet in front of them, right? And it's kind of hard to say no to the buffet. We grew up in the Midwest, Matt, and there's a lot more buffets in the Midwest than I feel like there are here in California. But they said no to the buffet. And Daniel chapter 1 and verse 8, this says Daniel was determined, that's a key word, not to defile himself by eating the food and wine given to them by the king. He asked the chief of staff for permission not to eat these unacceptable foods. So his determination is what gave him, his courage came from his determination. That he had to take this bold, courageous step. And sometimes your greatest step of faith will not be your easiest step. Because the chief of staff is now in this awkward position. because he was given authority over all of these Jewish kids. He was given authority over all of them, and he was afraid. He actually tips his hand in verse 10 and says that he's scared of punishment if these kids are pale and weak and scrawny, and he's like, this isn't going to fall on the Jewish kids. This is actually going to fall on me. But there's this interesting fact that happens in verse 9. It says in verse 9 that God had given the chief of staff both respect and affection for Daniel. And I believe that Daniel, he probably, you don't get respect unless you give respect. You don't get affection unless you give affection. And I love what Stephen Covey says. He says, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. But Daniel, he knew he had this relationship, but he took this bold step of faith, and he said, hey, let's give it 10 days. And let's set up a little experiment. Let's see what happens with us if we just eat vegetables compared to all these people eating at the king's buffet. And he exhibited our core value of faith. And we say our core value of faith like this. We are faith-filled, big thinking, bet the farm risk takers. We will not insult God with small thinking and safe living. And here's how you can test this value in your life to see if you're really living with courageous faith. What are you doing right now? What step are you taking that if God doesn't show up, it's doomed to failure? And if your dream or your next move is big enough that you can do it, it's not big enough. This is where you got to take a step in faith like Daniel did, courageous faith, to say, God, you're going to have to show up on this one.
Yeah, and it's crazy because God was already clearing the path for him, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. Like, God had given him respect and affection, but he would have never discovered it had he not taken that step. Mm-hmm. Now, it's so funny, like now in our 21st century mindset, to think that this is the conversation the chief of staff is having. Where it's like, okay, you're telling me that you're going to eat like a vitamin-rich and clean food and water. Everyone else is going to have, bacon, shrimp cocktails, and beer, and you're telling me you're going to be healthier? Seems risky, kid. You got 10 days. I mean, that's basically what we're reading right here. And for us who know about diet, we're like, well, yeah, of course that was going to work. But for them, that was a huge risk to take. And of course, it's wildly successful that they stick to that diet. And at the end of the 10 days, it says that they were like noticeably healthier than all of their peers. And in fact, they're so healthy that what happens when they actually go before the king, we actually get this description in verse 17. God gave these 4 young men an unusual aptitude for understanding every aspect of literature and wisdom, and God gave Daniel the special ability to interpret the meanings of visions and dreams. When the training period ordered by the king was completed, the chief of staff brought all the young men to King Nebuchadnezzar. The king talked with them, and no one impressed him as much as Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So they entered the royal service. And whenever the king consulted them in any matter requiring wisdom and balanced judgment, he found them 10 times more capable than any of the magicians and enchanters in his entire kingdom. Here's how you really should be reading this, is that they were successful. They excelled at whatever they did. And with that came opportunities, came promotions, came raises. And here's the thing that is just wild to me, is that when you look at just the trajectory of their careers, it all started with something so simple and so boring. It started with vegetables and water.
Vegetables and water. It's not very exciting. Mm-hmm. The people that are selling cookbooks right now, those that just talk about veggies and water, broccoli and water, they don't sell a lot of cookbooks. And I want to share with you that anything in life, the way that God has designed it is, most of it's pretty simple, but it's not easy. So take working out. If you want to get in shape, it's about stop eating junk food. It's about moving your body and getting enough sleep. And it's about doing just the small, consistent, difficult, it's not sexy, it's just the boring things of life. When you think about being in a healthy relationship, if you want a healthy relationship, it comes down to spending time together. It comes down to turning off your devices. It's being intentional. Love is spelled T-I-M-E. And it's about apologizing, forgiving one another, showing one another grace. It's the boring, it's simple, but it's not easy. And the same is true in our walk with God as well. It's the veggies in the water. It's about reading our Bible. You've got to get in the Word of God and let the Word of God get in you. It's about praying. It's about spending time communicating with God. It's about being involved in community. This is why we have Bible studies and growth groups and times to be able to connect, because you need friends. You need people that are going to support you, and God wants to use you to support other people. And it's about serving. It's about finding your gift that God's given you and figuring out how you can use that for God's glory and God's benefit.
You know, I think a lot of us, we really dream of the second half of today's passage, where there's success and there's opportunity and there's excellence that's kind of defining the story of your life. And that might not look professional. It might be on a relational level where you are aiming towards something great and you hit it. But the thing is, it all starts with vegetables and water. But here's kind of something to just ponder and think about today is, what do you do when vegetables and water are going to cost you something? Because simple, easy, and clear does not always mean easy. Like, sometimes you hit roadblocks. I mean, for Daniel and his 3 friends, the idea of going to the chief of staff and saying, we don't want to eat your food, we want to eat our own food, was a very risky endeavor. Babylon was not known for its tolerance and its inclusivity. Like, this was a place that would kill you just for thinking differently or doing something that just made the ruling powers a little uneasy. This is a huge risk for them to take. And I have to wonder sometimes just how easy it is for us to compromise. And to Daniel, a small compromise was a big deal. Like, it was a very big deal to him. The thing, though, is Daniel's determination, it outweighed any fear that he might have. And I have to ask myself this question. I want you to ask yourself this question too. Where are you feeling pressure to compromise? And it might seem like such a small, trivial thing, but it starts with the small, trivial things, and it usually ends somewhere big. Like, where do you feel that pressure to compromise? And so if you're watching today and you don't consider yourself a Jesus follower, I mean, I hope you stand up for your convictions. Like, I really want you to do that. But I want to take a moment just to talk to those who self-identify as a follower of Jesus. As you think about the trajectory of your life and where your small decisions are leading you, do you like where it's going? Do you want to end up there? I would even submit to you that there are several of us that maybe we're just 1 or 2 small, boring decisions away from a major breakthrough. It might be something that you're letting into your life. It might be something that you need to get out of your life. It might be something that you need to get into, that you are sitting right on the edge of seeing God do something incredible that will transform your marriage, that will transform your neighborhood, that will be the difference maker for future generations to come. And it's simple, and it's clear, but it might not be easy. And are you determined enough to not even compromise a little bit in an area like that?
Hey, Matt, as we kind of wrap up this message today, I want us just to get practical for a moment. And let's talk about maybe one broccoli and water spiritual discipline in your life. What's one thing that you say, this is just the simple, easy, not always easy, but simple, clear, this is a step that I take to grow in my faith?
Yeah, you know, for me at least, I know that I am growing usually when I'm in my Bible and when I'm praying and when I'm listening to voices that turn my attention to God. And I know it's broccoli and water, right? So the question is, like, how do I build that routine in? I use apps on my phone. I use the YouVersion Bible app to keep me consistent, and I have a Bible reading plan where this year I'm reading through the Bible in a year, and I wake up every morning, and it's the very first thing I do, and I don't think that's like an extra spiritual thing to make it the first thing. I just know that's where I can build it into my day. I have 2 toddlers, and they usually wake up around 7, so I got to get up way before them if I'm going to do this, because otherwise they'll steal my time. And I have an app that tracks all my prayers, and I have a way of entering them in. It's called Echo, the Echo prayer app, and it keeps me consistent. So That's what I do. Brian, what's your vegetables and water?
If I would say one that takes courageous faith is accountability. So, you and I are accountability partners, and we call each other once a month. Eddie's part of our group, and we literally mark off 30 minutes. We email each other, actually accountability report, each week, and just say, hey, how you doing spiritually? How's your walk with God? Are you spending time, with Shannon? Is there anything robbing you of your joy? And that takes courageous faith to be able to be consistent in that, be truthful in that, but also just to be able to continue to stay on path so that I stay aligned in my faith. And it's broccoli and water. It's vegetables and water, but I think it's something that helps my spiritual development, my spiritual growth. Hey, talk to him about where we're going to go next week.
Next week, we're going to continue in our series, Thriving in Babylon. And if you're somebody that's ever wanted to ask yourself the question, man, why do I act like this when I get under stress? Like when my environment is chaotic around me, why do I do the things that I do? Next week, we want to answer the question of how can I thrive in a chaotic environment?
That's awesome, because we're living in a chaotic environment right now. We need to hear the word of God. We need to hear lessons from Daniel, lessons from faith. Listen, if you're here today and you've never put your faith and trust in Jesus, that's your first courageous faith step you need to take. It's to say, God, I surrender my life. I wave the white flag of surrender. I give up. I can't do this on my own. God, I need you. And that's as simple as praying this prayer right now. And it's more than just a prayer, man. This is a conversation between you and God. This can be a holy moment wherever you're watching or listening to this right now. Just say, dear God, I'm asking you to forgive me of my sin and take full control of my life. God, I need you to lead me, guide me, direct me. Here I am. God, use me. Listen, if you prayed that prayer today, I want to welcome you to the family of God, and we want to celebrate with you. We have a gift that we would love to give you. If you would just text the number below, we want to celebrate. The angels in heaven are rejoicing, and we want to hear your story about what God right now did in your life and where you're at in your story so that we can help you not just find Jesus, but also follow Jesus. Hey, thank you for watching today. Let's worship together.
Spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so good to me. Your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind. God. coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me.
Man, thank you again so much for joining us for Church Online today. Again, if you made any decision to follow Jesus, text the number below and we'd love to reach out to you and encourage you as you begin the greatest journey of your life. We hope to see you back next week. Or for those of you with kids, we're about to start our Kid Point services. So all you kids, get your dancing shoes on. Let's get ready to worship.
This is my faith, this is my focus, all of my days. I know where my hope is, I'll live it loud, I'll shout the chorus, because I know, oh, you're always for us. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And keep on looking to you for where I'm going, knowing you go there too. I'll keep on looking to you. I fix my eyes on you. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. I fix my eyes on you. This is my faith, this is my focus, all of my days. I know where my hope is, I'll live it loud, I'll shout the chorus, because I know, oh, you're always for us. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And keep on looking to you for where I'm going, knowing you go there too. I'll keep on looking to you. I'll fix my eyes on you. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. I fix my eyes on you, oh yeah. Woo! You ready? Come on, let's go. Hands in the air, hands in I'll keep on looking, looking, looking to you. I'll fix my eyes on you. You are my oh, you are my always, you is oh, you are my kiss. I'll fix my eyes on you, on you, on you.
Hello, friends. I'm Erica, and welcome back to another week in the STEAM Lab. I've had so much fun these last couple weeks discovering and trying new things in here. And usually, whenever I try something new, it feels a little bit like a leap of faith. I'm leaping. Ah! Ugh! Anyway, faith is trusting in what you can't see because of what you can see. And this week is no different because photography! Photography is fun because it mixes technology with art and it lets you make memories. Oh, that's a nice smile. That's beautiful. But I'm still trying to figure things out. Yesterday, I wanted to take some artistic photos of random objects in my life. So I did the telescope, that random black thing with all the wires, that one in the middle, that plant that was really cool, the clamps, there's lots of colors in there, and this. But when I started trying to use the camera, all my pictures were coming out blurry. Can you even tell what that is? Can you even tell what that is? I don't even. Or this? Any guesses? Can you see what that is? Turns out with these like fancy with these fancy cameras, be careful. You have to actually adjust the focus on the lens. See? This is focus, and out. Or you can just simply flip it to autofocus. Ding! But then I realized most people make mistakes when they don't know what they're doing, and I was like, and then I realized that I even figured out how to fix the problem myself. And then I was all like, yeah! So I'm feeling pretty good. Here's my second try at my photos. Ta-da! Great, right? So, in today's Bible story, we get to hear all about how God changed the picture that Peter saw. But I don't want to give away the details now. You guys gotta take a look for yourself. See you back in a bit. Oh.
Hello, kids. It's time for another rousing game of Where's Brando? See if you can help me find him. Oh, ha! Is Brando underneath this chicken? No, he is not. Is Brando next to this table tennis court? No, he is not. Is Brando underneath this desk? No, he is not. Is Brando hiding underneath this robot helmet? No, he's not. Where is Brando? Seriously, where's Brando? Yes.
Coconuts. Am I right? I'm Brandon.
And I'm John, and welcome to the So-and-So Show.
Popsicles. Am I right?
Brandon, what are you doing? Where did you get that popsicle?
Oh, Longbeard Carl left it in the studio a couple weeks ago.
Oh, what are you doing now?
Just enjoying the summertime, my friend.
Yeah, but you don't need sunscreen inside.
I know, but don't you just love the smell of it? It's like the smell of summer. See?
Ugh, Ugh.
Does that smell like summer?
No, it smells like my Aunt Agatha's beach house.
Oh, what's the difference? Hey! What's the difference?
What's the difference?
So, in this game, we're going to see two photographs that look the same but really aren't.
Yep, and whoever finds what's different first wins.
Oh, I'm so going to win.
I wouldn't be too sure.
Uh-huh.
Let's go.
All right.
Ah, summer. That's what my arm smells like. Mm-hmm. We look like we're having a good time, John.
Yeah, but these photos look exactly the same. I can't see anything that looks... no. Wait. Got it. On the left picture, there's a sun in the sky, and there are people playing in the water. And on the right picture, it has no sun, and there are no people in the water. Oh!
Wow, good observation.
Yeah. Okay, next photo.
Cool, now we're at the pool. I could sure use a dip right now. What about you, John?
No time. Focused on the game.
Sure. Hey, but don't forget to have fun. It's only a game.
Oh, in the first photo, my face is sometimes sad, sometimes angry. In the second photo, my expression is more perplexed and pensive. Oh!
Wow. That's a very subtle difference.
Yeah, there's nothing subtle about it. Next.
Looks like a good day for a picnic.
Concentrating. 13, 14, 15.
What are you counting?
The blades of grass in each picture. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
That's going to take you all day.
22.
Can't we just look for
Got
something?
it! In the right photo, I am smiling slightly wider than in the left photo. What? No, zoom in to a close-up, see? In this one, I'm like, and in this one, I'm like that. They're different.
Or there are clouds in the photo on the left, but no clouds on the right. Ha!
Oh, man.
And the winner is John.
Yes, best two.
Why?
That was best 2 out of 3, buddy.
So why'd we even do the third photo? You'd already won.
I know, I love winning. It's Bible Story Time with Kellen.
Bible stories are so fun. I get to tell them to everyone. Hey, 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 guys. What's up?
Hey, Kellen.
Yeah, sounded good, Kellen.
Thanks.
Hey, what's the story about?
Today's story is about the time when Peter, one of Jesus' disciples, met Cornelius, a commander in the Roman army. And here to help me tell the story are the So-and-So Show players.
I am so excited.
Can we play the game again?
This story happened sometime after Jesus had died and come back to life, which, by the way, is still an amazing thing to think about. It was so amazing that many people believed in Jesus just because of what they heard about him. But here's something you may not have known. Many Jesus followers at the time thought you had to be Jewish before you could follow Jesus. In fact, there were laws that said Jewish people and non-Jewish people, or Gentiles, couldn't even hang out together. So our story begins in the home of a Gentile, the Roman commander Cornelius, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I wonder what time it is. I'm guessing 3 o'clock in the afternoon, huh? Hey! That's right.
Cornelius,
Whoa! What is it, Lord?
your prayers and gifts to poor people are like offerings to God, and he has remembered you. Send men to Joppa and have them bring back a man called Peter.
Okay.
So Cornelius sent 3 men to Joppa to find Peter. Around noon the next day, Peter was on the roof praying when he got really hungry.
Lord, you are faithful. I pray that you... Whoa. I'm hungry. I wonder if lunch is ready yet. Whoa. I'm hungrier than I thought I was.
Peter had a vision. He saw something like a sheet being let down from heaven.
Where are we?
I think we're on this guy's roof.
Hey, who's that guy?
In his vision, Peter saw animals of all kinds in the sheet. They probably weren't talking animals, but they were the kind of animals that would have been against the law for Peter to eat. As Peter watched, he heard a voice.
Get up, Peter. Kill and eat.
What did that voice say?
Kill und eat. Right, us?
No, Lord, I won't do it. I've never eaten anything that isn't pure and clean.
Do not say anything is not pure, that God has made clean.
Whose side are you on here, vision voice?
The vision was repeated 3 times.
Oh, I'm dizzy and confused. Are you gonna eat us or not?
Then the sheet was immediately taken back up to heaven.
Hang on!
What could this vision mean?
At that very moment, the 3 men Cornelius sent to find Peter arrived. And the next day, Peter went with them to Cornelius' house.
You're here.
Oh, stand up. Look, I'm a human being, just like everybody else.
I've brought all of my family and all of my friends to hear what you have to say. Go on, say hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to meet you. You know it's against our law for me, a Jew, to enter the home of a Gentile or to even be close to one. But God has showed me that I shouldn't say that anyone is unclean. And that's why I'm here. I realize now that God treats everyone the same. He accepts people from every nation who have respect for him and do what's right.
Peter told them all about Jesus, and he told them how anyone who believes in Jesus, Jew or Gentile, will be saved. While Peter was speaking, the Holy Spirit came on everyone in the house who heard the message.
Hallelujah!
This is the best day of my life.
I forgot to change my costume. Oh, man.
Well, surely no one can keep these people from being baptized.
This is the best day of my life.
Yeah! Yeah! Woo! I did it! Thank you!
Not sure baptism worked like that back then, but everyone who believed in Jesus was baptized that day. After staying with Cornelius for a few days, Peter left to spread the word that faith in Jesus wasn't just for people like him, but for everyone. The end.
That's a great story, Kellen.
Yeah, and well done, so-and-so show players.
That was so cool, but I'm wondering, would we have ever heard about Jesus if Peter hadn't had that weird vision?
That's a really good question. Before that vision, Peter thought Jesus was only for people who were the same as him.
Yeah, but now we know Jesus came for everyone, even different people like us.
Yeah, and we are way different.
Yep. Doesn't matter where you were born or the color of your skin or how different you are. We can put our faith in the same Savior.
That's super cool. Thank you, Kellen.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you next time.
Hey, bye, Kellen. Man, I really loved that.
No kidding. The so-and-so show players are the best.
Reveal the question. Oh, hey, what are some ways people are different from each other?
Yeah, it could be the way people look.
Like hair color or nostril shape.
Mine are crooked.
How about that?
Yeah, or it could be other things too, like what subject in school people are good at, or how many brothers and sisters people have.
Yeah, the possibilities are pretty much endless.
Yeah, so you guys talk it out. What are some ways people are different from each other? And we will see you next time.
Yes, I am John.
And I'm Brandon.
And this was the So-and-so Show.
Are we different from each other?
Yeah, we're very different.
You think so? How?
Yeah.
I love Jesus. He's so cool. Out of the Bible. It's so cool. I get to tell it after school. Psych at church. It's so cool. Can I finish a minute? Let me dance.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, sorry. Hold on. That's better. Isn't it beautiful how God loves everyone? In our story today, God told Peter to give people a chance even though they were different from him. Give people a chance. changed. God showed Peter that his rescue plan is for all of us. God promised Abraham that he would bless the whole world through Abraham's family. Hundreds of years later, one of Abraham's descendants, Jesus, made it possible for the whole world to know God, which is what God wanted Peter to realize. If God loved the whole world through Jesus, you can love other people too. Even if they look different than you, talk different than you, believe differently than you do. In fact, instead of focusing on all your differences, try looking at others the same way God looks at all of us, with love. Here's the one thing to remember today. Knowing Jesus changes the way you see others. It's like Jesus puts others into clear focus for us so that we can see them the way he does. Oh, wow, you're beautiful. I love those shoes, yes! Selfie! Wait. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's out of focus. Oh, I gotta put it in autofocus. Oh, wait, it's already in autofocus. My face is blurry. Is it right? Okay. I'll see you later. In focus, hopefully.